Atheist Nomads, episode 233. We're parents and we're back.
The podcast you're about to listen to includes cursing and talking about hoo-haws. Please be advised.
Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin.
I'm Lauren.
And we had two people lined up. Both are sick. We had two other people we contacted that were also sick. So it's just us. But
and people are just sick.
Yeah. And with a new baby in the house, we don't want... We're thankful that sick people aren't jumping through the doors to get in.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Not that we would let you anyway.
Yeah, so I hope you guys all enjoyed the interviews we had lined up. It was nice getting that 5-week break from the show with our little baby.
Almost too nice.
No,
you were itching to get back. You're so bored.
I've been itching back to get back.
He has probably mentally rearranged the living room 6 times.
Yeah,
with
probably.
Each one lasting about 10 days worth of thought.
Yeah. Well, so the studio used to be in its own room, and then we turned that into a nursery. So since early summer, it's been in the living room, and there is a giant window, and that is not really good for audio. So it limits things. But
not that much.
So, yeah, one thing that I think annoyed Lauren a little bit was I was finishing up editing last week's episode while she was in early labor.
Didn't annoy me. It kept you busy, kept you from worrying about me, and
no,
that's
I was still worrying about you.
Okay, well then, kept you busy.
Yeah. So was it more just the fact that I spent the last 2 weeks of the pregnancy editing almost nonstop?
Yeah, it was, it would have been nice to have seen you once in a while, but that's okay. That's all right. We got this.
All right. Yeah, it was, it was awesome getting people willing to come on and do interviews that weren't going to be going up for 2 months. And then...
Yeah, they were very understanding.
I was stressed with work and de-stressing with Civilization 5 instead of editing. And ended up having to do all the editing right at the very end, which was very dangerous, but got it all done. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's, so Lauren, how are you feeling about the baby?
Oh, man. I fell right into motherhood. For somebody who's been an advocate for child-free my entire life, I mean, I'm telling you, I hated babies. I hated the thought of babies. The thought of labor used to make me, like, actually physically queasy. Now that I've been through it, that's justified. It is terrible. Even though the epidural helped a lot, that last second of labor, man, even that the
epidural helped.
They turned it off, damn it.
The epidural helped with labor. What they don't tell you is that the actual delivery part is not part of labor. That's something different.
Yeah,
the epidural doesn't help them.
Every tear and stretch, and you feel like you have a football stuck in your groin. But she's all right. It was a rough start. It was a rough start for both her and me. But,
yeah, it was.
It turned out okay. They fill your head with all these, you're going to have your baby right away. They're going to do skin-to-skin contact. You want to breastfeed, right as soon as the baby is born. That's not how it happens. At least it didn't happen for me. They took the baby away, and it took me a good 20 minutes to get her back. Dustin was with her the whole time, but she wasn't. She needed some therapy, respiratory therapy. So
I was with her the whole time, standing 5 feet away, watching as the respiratory tech jammed giant tubes down her throat,
beat the living daylights out of her.
Yeah, but it was quite terrifying.
Yeah, aspiration, guys, not fun. But I guess I finally was cognizant enough to actually turn my head and say, "I want my baby," and the sudden look of realization crossed everybody's faces. Like, oh, crap, yeah, let's get her baby.
Well, the first time it was ignored because we're still trying to get her breathing.
Yeah.
Second time, then, yeah, it was a rough experience. Fortunately, the baby is amazing and wonderful.
And damn near perfect. Healthy weight, healthy body. As you probably expect, she may interrupt the podcast several times.
Through the joys and magic of editing, I will have most of that removed. but we will also probably be taking lots of breaks, and this will probably be one of the longest recording sessions.
Yay! We made it. What, a whole 5 minutes?
Yes, 5.
All right. Good job, baby. All right. So, yeah. Kylie, welcome to the world.
She was 8 pounds, 14 ounces, 20 and a half inches long. Oh, and the 8 pounds, 14 ounces was after she'd already pooped twice and peed once.
Yeah.
Getting her breathing was a little bit more important than getting her weight. And she's a healthy, amazing, wonderful, and really pretty easy baby.
Yep. She can even sleep up to like 5 hours at a time.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. We'd heard so much about how sleep deprived we were going to be, and
nope, we're champion sleepers, man.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
I say we because I'm probably up to about 12 hours of sleep a day. That has not gone down at all.
I'm getting a solid 7 or 8.
Yep. Good for us.
All right. Well, we are going to pause and tend to the baby, and we'll be right back.
Yay.
Yeah, 2017 has been quite the year. If we just start looking at the big picture, the U.S. has basically completely lost its international standing. It's been completely voted against in the UN over trying to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Trump has been disinvited or snubbed with numerous events where
outright
heads of
insulted.
States, yeah, and all perfectly justifiable. Our economy is still strong, but that's all based on what, stuff that Obama.
Yeah.
And now that they got the tax bill passed, that could tank everything while the rich get richer and everybody else gets fucked.
Yeah, until the revolution happens and they're the first up against the wall. And
now, for us to have a revolution, we're going to have unemployment actually drop, as opposed to this underemployment where people are so terrified of losing what little pay they're getting that they can't actually do anything.
They can't protest.
Yeah. So
the people who protest are the people who are jobless.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Well, and by protest we mean like Ukraine in 2011 protests,
like massive in the streets.
Yeah, millions of people in the streets shutting down a city. We don't have that yet.
Not politely shutting down a street for a couple of convenient hours.
There's a simple solution. It's step 1, impeach the motherfucker already. Step 2, flip the House and Senate. Step 3, question mark. Step 4, profit.
There you go.
That's how we can fix all of it.
There we go.
In our personal lives, 2017 was interesting with.
It was pretty epic.
Yeah, we went camping once because you were quite pregnant.
Yes, but we went to the cabin several times.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of outdoorsy time.
The changes at work have become basically completed, and the stress levels have gone way, way down. But that was a really rough transition. The show has also had quite a few bumps. Changes with the
progression.
Changing the lineup with changing how we do the lineup. We lost quite a few supporters, but we've maintained quite a few. We've gained some new ones. And
yay!
In all, it's been pretty good. It really sucked while taking a break from the show, having Patreon pull their bullshit.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, that was bad.
So we will be thanking all of our supporters that we still have here in a bit, but each and every one by name. And we've also had the Me Too and all of the people that have been taken down by that.
Yeah, that was empowering.
Including a member of the Atheist Podcast community.
It's unfortunate, but
yep.
It happens.
We had another member of the Atheist Podcast community kill his wife and then himself.
That was really sad.
That was Scott Smith, who was on episode 205. The one that got busted for harassing numerous women is Ishmael Brown, who's been on the show a couple of times. And it sucks, but it happens, and life goes on.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that 2018 is a much better year. The news will definitely continue to be interesting. They will continue to try and attack separation of church and state, and women's rights, and gay rights, and rights of anybody who
minority
is not
rights,
a rich old white man.
Right. Anybody who, is below a certain level on the color scale.
But we also have the midterms, and that it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see how Republicans act to not be completely destroyed. Anyway, it'll be an interesting year. Let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll have some news. Atheist Nomads is proudly brought to you by Archway Hosting. Check out their low-price, full-featured hosting solutions at archwayhosting.com. That's ARCHWAY hosting.com. We're also brought to you by listeners just like you. You can find out how you can become a patron at patreon.com/atheistnomads. That's patreon.com/atheistnomads. Listeners like Travis McGee, Darryl, George, Mike, The Flying Skeptic, Kim, Revan, Rachel, John, Josh, Rob, Al from South Carolina, Henry, Alexandra, Danielle, and Alan. You are the people who help keep this show going. You keep us making the show, and you are why we'll be able to power through and make this work. Expect changes. It's right now, the way we have things set up is pretty cool. We get to talk to a lot of interesting people, but it's an inherently unstable arrangement. And adding in the changes of a baby, we're going to likely, don't be surprised if we change the recording or the release date. We'll probably change the recording schedule several times. And there are going to be changes, but we will continue to power through.
And we're always open to suggestions.
Yes, we are.
Especially from patrons.
And these are the people who survived the changes in with Patreon. I am very proud that, unlike a lot of shows, we actually gained patronage as a result of that. One person made changes that resulted in more money each month. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're going to keep it going. That is you guys telling us to not quit because of a baby, which most podcasts, if a baby is involved, they can't do it anymore. So this, despite our own sanity, possibly, we'll keep going.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to some news. Not all these stories are going to be fresh. But I want to talk about these things. Egypt is where we're going to start, where they are working on a new plan to make atheism illegal.
And they're already arresting people.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they made blasphemy a crime a while ago.
Which we booed.
Yeah. And they made that quite strict. This new rule, even if you are silent, just for not believing in God, you can go to jail.
Yeah, so this is a friendly reminder to anybody who lives in a country that is hostile towards atheism, and you are listening to this podcast or other podcasts like this one. Please be careful.
Yeah.
Because your freedom and lives are more important than, a number on our statistics page.
Yeah. The head of Egypt's parliament, Amro Hamrouche, said, "The phenomenon of atheism is being promoted in society as freedom of belief when this is totally wrong. Atheism must be criminalized and categorized as contempt of religion because atheists have no doctrine and try to insult the Abrahamic religions."
Yeah, we do, actually. Yeah, but
even if
that shouldn't be illegal.
Even if we try to be nice or polite or silent, to conservative religious people, the mere existence of atheists is a insult to their religion. The fact that you don't believe in their God is an insult.
And I'm sure led to the persecution complex.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this sucks. The Arab Spring was an interesting phenomenon, And unfortunately, it appears, at least in Egypt, to have not really been a step in the right direction.
Oh, it just resulted in a backlash, I think.
Twice now. The military had to step in again and throw out the Muslim extremists.
No, yeah. That's all part of the backlash. I'm not saying that it's going to go back. It's just people wanted certain freedoms, and that got abused by certain groups, and that resulted in a harsh crackdown.
Yeah. The liberal minority wanted freedom, and for that freedom wanted democracy. And as a result, that gave the conservative majority the power.
Yeah, I'm not a firm believer that democracy is the best way. And that kind of goes to show why.
Yeah, it has only barely worked in the West because of the Enlightenment and the utter gutting of the church's power that routinely happens continuously since the Reformation. If it hadn't been for that, democracy wouldn't work here. And in a place with a high degree of religious fundamentalism, it doesn't work. And it's unfortunate. We have a Hindu woman in India who married a Muslim man, which under the rules of Islam is perfectly fine. Muslim men are allowed to marry outside of their religion, just Muslim women who can't. Well, when her husband took her to meet his family, they asked her to convert to Islam. She refused. They demanded. She refused. And then, claiming to be taking her back to the train, her father-in-law and or uncle,
it's not really
and or
clear.
Uncle's husband, it's not very clear in the article as to, is he just her husband's father-in-law, or is he, or her husband's father, or is he her husband's father and uncle? I think it's two separate people plus a few others. Anyway, they said they were going to be taking them back to the train so they could go home, and instead they took them out of town and tied her up and gang raped her and killed her.
Yeah. So that's not going to convert anybody. But maybe you scare people into doing it. When your life is on the line, you can say just about anything. But yeah, this stuff needs to, it won't stop, but it needs to be thoroughly punished, I think.
Oh, okay. Here's another detail. So they had gotten married against their parents, both sets of parents' wishes, and went to visit the uncle. The uncle then called the man's father. Yeah.
Damn. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's a real Romeo and Juliet situation there.
Sold out by a family member.
That's off. That sounds Shakespearean. I mean, that is tragic.
They would have picked the uncle to go see because probably a cool uncle that they thought was going to at least be decent, not murderous.
Yeah. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
But it's not all bad news. Tehran is easing up on the Islamic dress code.
Woohoo!
The police have decided that they will not be arresting women for violating the dress code. They will give them warning, and they will counsel them on how to better, more properly appear in public. They will give them classes taught by the police on Islamic values. And if they continue to get caught, then they might get legal action. But this is still a huge step forward.
Yeah, you think that with all the things wrong in the world, why are they wasting their time picking on a woman who's not wearing a certain outfit? But those are the easiest people to prey on. Mm-hmm. So that's what they do.
Moving to some domestic news, a Kentucky judge has actually gotten reprimanded and resigned over misconduct charges that were brought against him because of his refusal to hear adoption cases from gay and lesbian couples.
That's a big win.
In Kentucky.
That's a huge win.
Yeah. He was a family court judge, and after charges were filed against him with the Judicial Conduct Commission, they issued a reprimand against him, and that was after he had already announced that he was going to resign. And it looks like that resignation is already done.
All right.
The order did say that due to the respondent's retirement, a public reprimand is warranted and is the only public sanction available, which suggests that if he hadn't been planning to retire, they would have thrown the book at him.
Yeah, kind of sounds like it.
In Kentucky.
Yeah. That just goes to show, you just got to keep the fight going.
Yeah. It turns out judicial conduct commissions tend to be a lot more serious about things than actual judges.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. In Kansas, there is an elementary school that a number of years ago was actually handing out Bibles brought to them by the Gideon Society to fifth graders. Literally handing the Bible, placing it into the hands of the student. They have since scaled back that out of fear of getting sued and went to just putting them up on a table free to be taken by students. And this brought about some complaints that were reported to the American Humanist Association. They demanded that Harrington Elementary School stop this practice.
Yeah, no kidding.
And they have decided to stop.
Never was going to fly.
Well, the big thing is, under current judicial precedents, it seems that elementary schools are completely off limits, and middle school and high schools are allowed. That is allowed as long as it is open to anyone. This is fifth graders. It's an elementary school. Giving Bibles to
completely
students
inappropriate.
Is completely inappropriate.
There's no religious studies. There's no history or...
Yeah. Fifth graders are incredibly impressionable. And so, yeah, this is definitely...
Yeah, they're way too busy trying to have sex and start smoking. They don't need to be bothered by Bibles.
It'd be interesting to see if this school district, what they're doing in the middle school and high school, if they're doing something similar, then they just need to make sure they're willing to also accept coloring books from the Satanic Temple.
Yeah, which they should totally do that.
We are going to go ahead and take our second break, and then we have feedback. We love hearing from our listeners. You can email us at contact@atheistnomads.com, tweet us at atheistnomads, send us a message on our Facebook page at facebook.com/atheistnomads, or better yet, call us and leave us a message at 541-203-0666. We might even play it on the show. You can also help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcast directory of choice.
Hello, I'm going to sing you a song. Hi, how you doing today? Just want to say, well, so many lady, yeah. Got a baby, which is fucking cool, because those babies are so adorable. Oh, you can call them doorbells, or whatever, yeah. Cause I just wanted to congratulate you, yeah. So, talk about atheism, because we do not believe in shit. Oh no, no we don't. I like the show, so should you. So listen, please. I got enjoy the show.
Thank you. I have no idea who that was from, but thank you. That was quite sweet.
Hi, Dustin and Lauren. This is Celia, and I just wanted to say congratulations with your baby. I'm incredibly happy for you guys, especially for Lauren, because I know pregnancy can take a lot out of a woman, and as a transgender woman, that is something that I may never understand. I'm glad Lauren's pregnancy ended well with a beautiful, healthy baby. She looks incredibly cute. Her weaponized cuteness is just killing me. So, congratulations. I'm sure you guys will be great parents, and keep up with the good works on Atheist Nomads. I look forward to it each and every week.
Thank you, Celia. You are an awesome and wonderful person, and pretty sure our biggest fan. From CJE Gray on iTunes, we got a review, 5 stars. Love this podcast. Like the people who get invited to come on, mostly Mikey. Even being an atheist, I still like learning about other religions and how it's practiced.
That's awesome, because learning about the world is the best.
From Twitter, from Lito, at Lito ABQ, at Atheist Nomads. Just found your podcast somehow, and now I'm making my way through the entire backlog.
Oh, man.
That is a dedication. The first few episodes were incredibly rough and very long.
I would just go with most recent and start going back and until you can't do it anymore.
Or start at 20.
There you go.
It was pretty decent by 20. Yeah, maybe even 10. But nope, 13 was really bad. Start at 14. There we go.
There you go. No, now you have to go listen to 13 just to hear how bad it was.
Sam and Wesley were in a bar.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I thought things were going quite good at that point, and had heard stories about bad episode 13, so I decided in advance to call it Luck Has Nothing to Do with It. And then it was almost unusable audio. Oh, man. That was bad. From Bradley John, at Banning Bradley J on Twitter, at Atheist Nomads, you guys are the fucking best. By far the best. Thank you.
Now, isn't the correct name for this person be Bradley John Diamond Pride Flag?
Perhaps, yes. Yeah.
You gotta have the emojis in there too.
Oh yes. I have not learned how to speak fluent emoji yet, but they keep changing. And I I'm a dad now. I get to act a little bit more curmudgeonly.
That's true. We don't have to keep up with times anymore.
I can start to get I have a duty to my daughter to get out of touch with the latest changes in society.
That's true. You have to be able to embarrass her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Back to news. The president of the Mormon Church, Thomas Monson, has died. That's
pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. Not much more to say about that one. He was 90.
Have they chosen a replacement as of this recording?
Not yet. Okay. They are waiting for his funeral first.
It takes a while.
They have to find the new prophet. So, and you can't do that until he's in the ground.
Probably vote, don't they?
Yeah.
That seems odd, right? Voting for a prophet.
Yep.
Doesn't really make it very prophetic.
The Catholics do the same thing.
I know. I always thought that was weird.
They vote for the Pope, and then the person they vote is infallible.
But they weren't before that?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Whatever. But that's politics, too.
You get selected by voting instead of the casting of lots.
It was obviously your destiny.
Well, and actually, that's the big problem is if you look at the Bible, finding out something like that, you're supposed to cast lots. This would best be done in modern times with the D20.
Yes.
Whoever rolls the highest is the prophet.
Oh, well, okay then.
Let God speak through the many-sided dice.
I like that. I'm going to cross-stitch that. That's epic. That one's for you, Mikey.
Roy Moore is lost.
Yay!
Yeah, this was a story that
he's jonesing now.
I was so happy and sad that I couldn't talk about it on the show, but he's still in the news. So yeah, he lost in the special election in Alabama. Lost to a Democrat. This is somebody who won public election to Chief Justice of the Supreme Court for the state of Alabama twice, was removed from office by the Judicial Conduct Committee both times, and thought he could still win, and he lost.
Yeah, the pedophilia definitely caught up to him.
I'm not sure if that actually...
I think that turned the tide.
If you look at the polling, people who supported him before were more supportive of him after finding out about his pedophilia.
Yeah, that's true, but I think that there were enough people who were probably sitting on the fence that were like, nah, I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I think it's probably the combination of Trump being a complete dumpster fire.
That's true.
Taking a lot of Alabama Republicans and moving them into the undecided camp, and then this pushing them over to either deciding to vote for Jones or not voting at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he is not backing down. Moore has still, a month after the special election, not conceded.
God.
he is, despite the fact that Jones has been sworn in at the Senate, has taken his seat, he is still claiming that there was massive voter fraud.
Fake news.
And even filing lawsuits claiming this.
You know, what sucks, though, is that the state's going to have to pay to counteract those lawsuits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's just wasting everybody's time, everybody's money on a fight that he's going to lose.
Yeah.
Does he have nothing better to do with his life?
No.
Go ranch or something?
No, he's a 70-year-old who wants power. And realistically, now he's going to run for governor.
Okay. Good for him, I guess.
Yeah. Who is the governor is the one who took office after, was the elected lieutenant governor, and then took office after the last governor resigned in a abusive power to cover up his affair scandal.
Oh, man. It's like a soap opera down there.
It really is. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Moore is not going to back down, and I suspect he won't back down until he dies.
That's what I was thinking.
Which he's 70. That could take 30 years.
Or it could be tomorrow.
For some more good news, the FDA is finally cracking down on homeopathy.
Yes.
They had backed off on enforcement in 1988 and basically stopped regulating homeopathy beyond good manufacturing practices. In other words, making sure that the product that you are putting out is what you say it is, and making sure that you don't have adulteration from things like broken glass, which has been found in homeopathic manufacturing plants. So their new enforcement approach that they have announced is going to be risk-based. So they are going to start with products that are being marketed for serious diseases and or conditions when the products haven't been shown to offer clinical benefits. So basically, any homeopathic product that is being marketed for a non-self-limiting condition. Self-limiting being something that's going to resolve on its own.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what does that mean?
That means a homeopathic treatment for cancer or heart disease or
arthritis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all going to be targeted.
Chronic pain.
They are going to be looking at cases where homeopathy contains potentially harmful ingredients and that they don't meet current good manufacturing practices. And they're also going to be focusing on products that are being marketed to vulnerable populations, such as the elderly and babies.
Elderly, babies, and the sickly?
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that count as an entire population of somebody who's vulnerable? Is this
true?
The exact people that these people are marketing for?
It will be interesting to see.
I mean, how many babies got poisoned by that homeopathic teething thing? And yeah, this has definitely been a long time coming.
Yeah, well, and it's going to be interesting to see how this actually gets applied. This is Trump's FDA, so it will be very interesting. And my mom has been using a homeopathic product for about 6 months. 6-8 months, somewhere around that. That has actually helped her a lot. This was something that really weirded me out because if it's homeopathic, how is it helping? I did some research into it, and Arnicare and similar Arnica Montana homeopathic preparations are falsely labeled as homeopathic.
Right, because they actually have an active ingredient.
The one product I was seeing online the most, it was labeled as, if I'm remembering correctly, 7% 1X, which means a 1 in 10 dilution. That is a recent addition to the homeopathic pharmacopoeia, because the principle of homeopathy is the more times you dilute it, the stronger the water memory gets and the more potent it is. So you tend to get things like 30C, which is 1 drop in 100 repeated 30 times. A 1X is 1 drop in 10.
Yeah, that's not homeopathic.
Once. That is a 0.7% strength ointment.
Which they couldn't have just come out and said 0.7%.
Well, then it wouldn't be homeopathic.
Oh, of course not. Right.
And
they'd get regulated.
Arnica montana is illegal to be used as an herbal supplement in the United States because it is a highly potent neurotoxin. So the only way they could legally market it is as homeopathic, because homeopathy has been getting away with using very harmful, otherwise illegal substances and products, because if it's done under proper homeopathic techniques, it's a placebo. There is literally nothing left of the active ingredient. So if you take these rules for these guidelines for what they say at face value, any homeopathic product, or excuse me, any product marketed as homeopathic that contains active ingredient or is being marketed for a condition is going to be removed from the market.
You know, it's I've been watching too much Psych. When you mentioned that it was a deadly neurotoxin, I was thinking, perfect murder weapon. But no, yeah, this stuff needs to be taken off the market.
Yeah, it's fraudulent.
Or at least it needs to be correctly labeled. I mean, in this case, in the Arnicare case, that's too bad because it is banned in the U.S. There's no way around that.
Right,
but I'm sure there are some products out there that...
Now, when you look at... I was able to actually find some studies about Arnica montana. And...
Arnica of the mountain.
It was studied several times in Europe 15, 20 years ago. Several studies about it because it was in use then as a topical treatment for pain. And basically fell out of favor, because the studies found it was no better than topical ibuprofen, and it had more risks than topical ibuprofen. And the plant is only found in the mountains of Spain and is very rare.
Yeah, it's endangered, isn't it?
Yeah. And if you're harvesting an endangered plant or making a product, that is kind of bad. There is a reason why proper drugs, they try to synthesize it as quickly as possible. It is so they don't have to keep using the plant.
Yeah, people who complain that, pharmaceuticals are just chemicals. Well, they're chemicals, in quotation marks, for a reason. And that is one of them, is that most medications are plant-based. And, if it's a common thing that can't be synthesized, it won't be common for very long.
Yeah. A great example would be the oral contraceptive that was popular in classical Greece for about a generation. It was popular because it was effective, and it only lasted a little while because they were harvesting actual plants and drove it to extinction.
Yeah. Lesson learned.
So, yeah, anyway, this will be interesting to see. It'll be quite interesting. In a recent survey in Britain, a country which has a population that is 53% unaffiliated when it comes to religion, they surveyed 1,700 people and asked them about politicians and how they should use religion in political decisions. And they found that 65% of people said that they should keep their religious beliefs to themselves and out of their decision making. Only 14% thought that politicians should be able to use their religion in making decisions. And 62% wanted to get rid of the Lord's spiritual.
Well, that makes sense. It's kind of outdated, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the 26 seats in the House of Lords that are dedicated and automatically assigned to bishops of the Church of England.
Yeah, I mean, talk about religious discrimination anyway.
Even
obviously they have an official religion, so it's not as big of a deal. But.
Yeah. Also of interest, only 8% want to keep the status quo.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely a change, a call for change.
62% want to get rid of the Lord's spiritual. 8% want to keep it how it is. The rest, the big chunk, want to either have them allow other faiths in, including non-Christian faiths, or to just reduce the number of seats drastically.
1 or 2 people? not 26.
Yeah. And for our final news story, the BBC's head of religious programming has come out as an atheist.
That is brilliant. That is just, it's just perfect.
Yeah, he was a member of parliament from the Labour Party. He was appointed to be the BBC Director of Radio and Education and is responsible for religious programming on the BBC. And in an interview a couple weeks ago on Radio 4, he was asked if he was religious. And his reply was, "I'm not. I'm an atheist, but I think the issues around belief are incredibly important to how we live."
All right. I think it's hilarious that nobody bothered to ask him because it seems pretty obvious that he was more than forthcoming about it. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, why didn't you say that before? It's like, well, you never asked. It's kind of one of those situations. But, I trust somebody who thinks it's all BS to be more fair about programming than somebody who is biased in one way or the other.
Yeah. It's a post that has traditionally been held by Christians. The last person to hold that office was a Muslim, and now there's an atheist. There are a lot of people who are upset about this. Some have called for him to resign.
Stand firm, buddy.
Yeah. What's interesting is BBC is pledging to, quote, raise our game by increasing the portrayal of all religions in mainstream shows.
Okay. I think they should just do less overall.
Yeah.
But if you look at traditional BBC programming, there's a lot of church-based programming.
Mm-hmm.
It just look for programs that start with the word Father.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them.
That's true. Yeah. Well, that is the end of the news. We made it through an episode.
All right, yay!
With baby,
and baby is currently asleep.
Yay!
Laying on my chest.
For our listeners, if you are care, it took us 4 tries to actually get all the way through.
Yeah, not bad. Not as much as I thought.
Yeah. So that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with another interview. This one with Kylie from a news episode back in November, and then we should be back to the normal schedule after that.
All right.
Just remember, not all those who wander are lost. Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at atheistnomads and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/atheistnomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.